Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven, accompanied by Queen Taylor, and today we're going to be doing the dreaded video that I knew was coming, that a lot of you on Patreon had linked to this video because we hate roundabouts. And we watched Alan Partridge Places of My Life, and we made some comments about roundabouts, and let us hear.
I may have got both of us a little bit confused on roundabouts.
So they're
So
like,
people were like, listen, buddies, you guys need to just see what it's about. Maybe get a little educated.
figure it out. And I'll tell you why this is so important and so relevant. This might be TMI, but we're overshares. Okay. On our way to our babysitter's house, which we've been dropping off our son to babysit, there is a massive roundabout because it's a newer development, newer part of town. They love their roundabouts. But it's weird because you all know what a roundabout is. It's a roundabout. It's a circle, goes around. The first innermost circle of this particular roundabout has a straight or a turn. And I'm thinking that has ongoing traffic on my right. So how do I go straight? How do I do that without, like, you know what I mean? So if we're two cars going around about, we're going around in circles. If I go straight, this dude's hitting me. He's plowing me into the ass. How do I do this?
This is a very bizarre because roundabouts, like you don't see a ton of roundabouts here
In America.
in the US. Maybe there's certain places that have them more prevalent, but anywhere that we've ever been, no. We never even had a roundabout until we were living in Colorado, and they just started putting in a couple. They're smaller, they're obvious, you know, they've got signs that say, you know, this lane does this lane does this lane does this. These are the ways you can go in each lane. So it's like, okay, it's helpful for people figuring out because roundabouts, your first time, you've never seen it before, they can be a little confusing. People already don't know how to drive. You stick them in something like that. No, it's tits up. But this one, it's not like any roundabout we've ever been in. It literally doesn't make sense because you follow the lines. And like he said, if you're in the second lane next to this one curves, but this one goes straight. So you literally would get like T-boned. There's no way you just scoot around and hope for the best. It's the craziest, most thing. I don't know how it's there. I don't know what they're thinking in doing that. I don't know if the person who did the lines in the roundabout was drunk or it was their last day before they quit and they were like, this is going to be funny, but it's definitely not a good or like legitimate roundabout.
And just so that we're perfectly clear, the United States was built to drive. So we have thousands upon thousands of miles of roadway. And like our cities are designed for cars, like everything was designed to be driven on. So I feel like it's really congested in these roundabouts, and they kind of don't fit in the American design.
Some places are really good. Some make sense. A lot of them is like it literally just
like
does worse.
You remember when we saw a roundabout and it was like, why the just put a left turn?
Yeah.
Just put a left turn. Why are we doing a circle? You could just literally make a left turn. Take this median out of here. It was actually like too much.
It was, yeah, very, very weird. It was, yeah, completely unnecessary.
Completely unnecessary.
But it's like they're trying to just catch up with times and they're like, oh, we need roundabouts. Let's just throw a dart on a map and wherever it lands, you just pop one in. That's how a lot of them are.
That's how a lot of them are. There's really like, there was one that was going into a neighborhood and we're like, why?
Yeah.
Well, this is silly. But anyways, I digress. That was a lot, but I just wanted to let you guys know before we start this video, because here's what I'm hoping that this video does. It says, the title of this video says, the mistake that made Americans hate roundabouts. So maybe it's not roundabouts themselves. It's a mistake that effed it up.
You also have to take into consideration, we drive on opposite sides of the street and sit in opposite sides of the vehicle. So our brains are used to processing. So when we're looking at roundabouts, we're like, okay, well, which direction did it even go? So I think in the Alan Partridge video, that's where I was getting us mixed up because I was like, oh, you go this way and then you do this. And people were like, no,
No.
Also, people were very terrified. I had a lot of people tell me in the comments of that video not to drive when we visit the UK. And I would like you guys to know, even though I'm pretty dumb, I am smarter than that. I either A, will not drive, we will hire something, or take buses or whatever, or B, I will do all my due diligence before it gets to that point. I'm not I will never put myself in, or others in that situation, to just hop in a car where I'm driving on the opposite side of the road, trying to navigate those. That's not a thing. So nobody will die because I'm behind a wheel there. So rest assured.
Are you guys rest assured? I feel like you're still nervous. I feel like you're still nervous, but rest assured.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you guys, a lot of chit chat. Let's hop on over to the video and let's get started.
Millions of Americans sit at red lights and wait. They watch the countdown. They check their phones. They trust the system to keep them safe. But here's what most people don't realize. A standard four-way intersection has 32 places where one car's path crosses directly into another's. 32 chances for a collision every single cycle. A European roundabout? 8. And every one of those 8 is a slow...
Wow.
See?
See?
This is doing it, right? Am I just confusing myself again?
No, this
one goes straight, this one turns. If this one's turning while this one's going straight, boom.
We're dead.
T-bone.
We're dead. Yes.
That doesn't make sense.
So, but to their point in this video, there's 8 opportunities. Now, most, like we did, because we were in the same exact position. This was our life 2 days ago.
Except this one's also a little bit different because this just keeps like going
Going
around.
around. So what if you just...
Ours is, yeah, they're like, I don't know what to do. I'm going to drive in circles because I'm freaking out. No, but ours is like well, this is confusing because it goes this way, but this is like you go this way. This one goes, yeah, this is just different as well.
Yeah.
So I don't really, because we don't have 2 lanes. We just have like 1.
Yeah, we just have
so
one.
you
lane.
say you go around this way and this one goes, I'm just getting myself confused.
So
So it's a little bit different, but it's similar in the sense where we were talking, the outer car goes and then the inner car hits you.
Well, baby, it's incoming traffic, outgoing traffic. So you have like this one's coming in, this one's going out.
Right.
Right.
But it's inside the car that's getting out. So if that green car is going to go out, they're going to hit the red car that's going around.
I know. So I guess you just have to yield and make sure you have your blinkers on to turn.
That doesn't make sense to me.
That's what we have.
Why would you not flip flop it?
I
so
bet
this car can only
go
go out
this
that way, and this one is on the inside and goes out that way.
Yeah. So this red car
not a good design.
can go left if he wanted to.
Yeah.
If he wanted to come over
But
here.
if he wants to go over there, he risks getting hit.
So that's what they're saying in the segment. They're saying like, hey, there's 8 chances. 8 like chances to get hit compared to the 4-lane stop that we have, the intersection stops that we have. Because you're right, people go left and they're going straight. Like people don't stop for red lights.
I'm just saying there's got to be a better way to design them. So if you're in a particular lane, you can't go straight on the outer lane and have a chance of getting hit from the inner lane. So inner lane only goes one way. Outer lanes, I don't know how to do it.
You want this to be a merge lane, essentially. So you want this to go in circles, and then you got to get over here to go somewhere. I don't know. We've also seen 4 lanes of this before.
We have. That's real crazy.
Yeah.
Merging movement. The kind that almost out 32 chances for a collision every single cycle. A European roundabout? 8. And every one of those 8 is a slow merging movement, the kind that almost never kills anyone. So you'd think Europe invented this, but they didn't. America did. In 1905, 25 years before most of Europe had a single traffic circle. We built the concept, pioneered it, and then spent 50 years making it so dangerous and confusing that the entire country swore them off, right as the rest of the world figured out how to make them work.
Nice.
So what went wrong? And what did Europe do differently? Let's start with the circle that scarred Americans for a generation.
Tell me.
New York City, 1905.
Makes sense.
The streets are a free-for-all. Horses, streetcars, bicycles, and the first wave of automobiles all converging on intersections with no signals, no signs, and no rules. A man named William Phelps Eno, widely considered the father of American traffic management, designs a circle at the southwest corner of Central Park, Columbus Circle, the first traffic circle in the United States. The idea was elegant. Instead of vehicles crossing each other's paths at right angles, they'd all flow in the same direction around a central island. No stopping, no conflicting turns, just smooth, continuous movement. And the concept spread. Over the next few decades, large traffic circles appeared across the American Northeast. But they had a fundamental problem. They were enormous, and they were built for speed.
That's huge.
Entry point.
Yeah, so...
And they were built for speed.
I've never seen one that big.
That's massive.
The ones that we always look at, like the traffic circle, is about the size of the inner circle.
Yeah, they're
never
much smaller.
But anyways, that Eno guy, he was the mastermind or whatever, the godfather of all track. You suck, buddy. Because like, I hate the grid system that we've got. Every town is like a box.
I feel like that makes it easier to know your way around.
But it's the reason why we have residential zoning and different types of zoning, where I feel as though, at least in Europe, they have their amenities in the neighborhoods so people could just walk. I wish we built our cities more of like a walking path so that you could just walk around town instead of always having to drive somewhere.
Yeah, that's definitely not a thing.
And they could have designed it that way, but I think I read somewhere in a previous video I think we covered that this is all by design by auto manufacturers. I don't know why that tripped me up.
Really?
The big, because they were big, job creators and earners, so they had a lot of influence, and gas and oil, right?
Points were wide and sweeping. Vehicles could pour in at 40 or 50 miles per hour without slowing down.
Wow.
And here's where it gets really backwards. The rules said that cars already inside the circle had to yield to cars entering. Think about what that means. The vehicles flooding in from every direction had priority over the ones already circulating. At rush hour, the whole thing seized up. When it wasn't gridlocked, it was terrifying. Engineers tried to fix it the only way they knew how. They bolted traffic signals onto the circles. They added stop signs. They essentially grafted a traditional intersection onto circular design, defeating the entire purpose. And when that didn't work out, they tore them out. By the 1950s, the American traffic circle was a confirmed failure. The word circle triggered anxiety. And for the next 40 years, the country built almost no new circular intersections of any kind. But here's the critical thing. What Americans learned to hate was not a roundabout. It was a traffic circle. And those are two fundamentally different things. But while America was ripping out its circles, Britain was struggling with the same problems. Their circles worked at low traffic volumes, but turned chaotic and dangerous as cities grew. Then, in 1966, one rule changed everything. The UK made it mandatory. Entering traffic must yield to circulating traffic, not the other way around. It sounds simple, but it was actually revolutionary.
So that's true today, and I think it's probably universal now. It's like oncoming traffic.
It seems like it would be common sense. That's why it's funny that he says it seems simple, because it seems like it would be so. I mean, if you're in the circle and you have to yield, imagine there's 100 cars coming. Now all of a sudden the circle's blocked up. More cars just keep coming. Nobody's moving because it's full.
But also,
it's like a clogged toilet.
It's one of those things where it sounds good on paper. So they probably designed all this and they looked at it and they're like, yeah, this is great. Let's get it into law. Let's do it. Let's build these suckers. And until you get into it, it didn't work out. Right?
Until you do it. Yeah. And it had been well over at least 10 years.
And what's crazy is they're talking about the times in like the 50s when they ripped all of them out. That still had such a ripple effect that it affects even us today.
Yeah.
Like, listen, if you watch this video and you listen to us complaining about roundabouts, that's been like decades of just, we're like babies with roundabouts. We're like just learning about them today. It's 2026.
We've only seen like a handful of roundabouts that we've ever come across.
And those are like proper ones too. I'm sure even the one that we passed up The one that we're talking about with our babysitter, that's probably like a new nice one.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's definitely new.
Yeah. We're still freaking out over it.
Under the old system, vehicles kept pouring in until the circle choked. Under the new rule, the circle always stayed clear. Cars could only enter when there was a gap. The system became self-regulating. But the British didn't stop there. They realized something that echoes what we saw in the European highways video. The geometry of the road matters more than signs or rules. Remember how European highway lanes are deliberately narrower?
No.
How that tightness forces drivers to stay alert and slow down? The same principle drives roundabout design. Make the circle smaller, tighten the entry curves, narrow the lanes. You physically force drivers to slow down. Not with signs, not with signals, but with the shape of the road itself. When you approach a modern European roundabout, the entry curve is sharp enough to bring you down to about 15 to 20 miles per hour. And here's the paradox. It works because it feels less comfortable. A slight tension behind the wheel is what keeps you safe, just like those narrow European highway lanes. Here's something most people get wrong. There's no single European roundabout. The British design and the Dutch design evolved along completely different tracks, solving different problems. British roundabouts historically prioritized moving the most cars possible. Wider entries, multi-lane circulation, higher throughput. Continental designers, particularly in countries like the Netherlands and Denmark, where millions of people cycle daily, went tighter. Single-lane entries, smaller diameters. Entry arms aimed...
Okay, hold on. I want to look at that for a second.
That's crazy to process that.
So these all kind of have their own exit point.
Yeah. But like, so this one, I'm going to use my mouse here. So let's say you coming into this one, you have options to go right here.
No.
No. So you have, well, these are the dotted lines. So it's.
So I think you just follow the dotted line. So you're like, oh, I need to basically make a left. So you follow that all around, go left. For the middle lane, you go straight. For the right lane, you turn right.
I feel like what's stopping him from just making a right?
I mean, you probably can, but it's like not. It's like when you're not supposed to drive through a solid line.
Yeah.
It's technically illegal, but people do it. It's probably something like that, you know?
This feels like the roundabout mini boss.
Yeah.
Because this is just
it's really crazy when you look at it, but I bet it really saves a lot because it is. It's not like oh my gosh, I'm in the right lane, but I need to go left or however it is. And then you're kind of freaking out trying to figure out which lane you need to be in. I mean, you'd have to know in advance before you got to that point, though.
Would you know how to drive this?
I mean, I feel like, so say I was in, give me that mouse.
Give me that mouse.
Say I was, so if I'm coming up to this point, I don't know which lane I need to be in. Yeah. I think I would just have to figure it out once I got there. So say I end up in this middle lane, I would just go along and just follow it out to where it brought me. So if I was like, oh shit, I needed it to go left, like I'd have to just go back here, I guess, and turn around somewhere to get that way. I don't think you would know which lane you need to be in because they do look like they all have their own
paths.
Yeah, their own paths. So there would have to be something maybe before like a sign like we have that says this first lane, unless obviously you're there and you know what you're doing. But like if we were there or coming across this for the first time.
Like left lane is going to.
Left lane left, right lane straight, right, middle lane straight, right lane right. That actually makes sense because you just literally follow. The left lane will take you left. The right lane takes you right. Middle lane takes you straight. That makes honestly too much sense.
Too much sense when you break it down.
Yeah.
And everybody in the comments like, guys, just follow it. Don't hit any cars.
Yeah.
Just continue on with your life.
Sometimes if road takes you, you miss a turn, you go where you're not supposed to go. You just turn around and go back a different way. It's fine.
Straight at the center island, so drivers have to turn sharply and tighter. Single lane entries, smaller diameters.
Oh, yep.
Entry arms aimed straight at the center island, so drivers have to turn sharply and slow way down. There's no single blue to an effective European roundabout, but Europe shares a commitment to iteration. Decades of building, studying what went wrong, adjusting, and building again. Mini roundabouts that fit into existing intersections with minimal construction, different island sizes, different entry angles, Each version refines the balance between speed, capacity, and safety. By the 1990s, the modern roundabout was one of the most evidence-backed safety tools in transportation engineering. Countries across Europe and Australia had millions of data points proving these compact, slow-speed circles dramatically reduced crashes. And the United States had almost none. But there's one place where the United States made a different choice. Carmel, Indiana, 1996. A growing suburb of about 30,000 people north of Indianapolis. Same infrastructure as every American city its size. Traffic signals, four-way stops, congestion, and a steady stream of serious crashes. Mayor Jim Brainard had just returned from traveling in Europe. He'd walked through towns organized around compact, flowing intersections. No stoplights, no gridlock, just continuous movement. He came home with an idea his constituents thought was insane. He wanted to rip out Carmel's traffic lights and replace them with roundabouts. The resistance was immediate. Residents pictured the chaotic rotaries of the Northeast. Public meetings were contentious. The local press was skeptical. Brainard built them anyway. He started smart, in a newly constructed corridor where there were no existing signals to replace and no entrenched habits to overcome. The roundabouts worked. Traffic flowed. Crashes dropped. So he built more. Today, Carmel has over 155 roundabouts and only 8 traffic signals left.
Hell yeah.
The city's population has tripled to about 100,000, yet injury crashes have dropped by 80%. And
amazing.
Here's what the skeptics didn't expect. Each roundabout saves between $5,000 and $10,000 a year in maintenance and electricity because there are no signals to power, no bulbs to replace. Vehicles no longer idle at red lights.
That's pretty cool.
That is actually really cool.
That's not something I would have even thought to take into consideration.
So it's funny. The American goes on travel and vacation.
He's like, this is great. I'm going to take that back to the US with me.
He probably had a real problem. And I'm sure every city has a problem. And I will say, because we're in Florida, there are undeveloped areas where I'm seeing a lot more roundabouts being implemented. And I think from just a cost saving perspective, it makes a lot of sense. I don't necessarily think it's like the video says, I don't think it's necessarily the roundabout themselves. It's the education around how to maneuver them.
Yeah.
Like when I was getting my driver's course and I got my license, nowhere did it talk about the laws, rules of roundabouts. So it's like almost like you need to implement that kind of training, that driving lesson.
Yeah.
Because I know in the UK you guys get a driving instructor. We do as well. And that should definitely be par for the course where they just take you through a roundabout.
So you don't necessarily get one.
Huh?
You don't necessarily. I mean, if you do like driver's ed or something, but if you go take your driver's test to get your license, is that what you're talking about?
That and then the driving test. You do have a driver's test where you sit in a car with a person and they grade you.
When I got my driver's license, not everybody did. It was based on when your birthday was.
Wow.
So it was just like random people.
Only me.
I mean, it must be state by state. I don't know if they changed the law. Like you did have to. So the way it works here, at least where I grew up when I was the age to get my license, was you had to be 18 to get your license. You could be 16 to get it if you took driver's ed. So you had to go through, I don't remember how many months this driver's ed was. You did it like in high school.
Yeah.
You had to pay for it. We stayed after school for a few hours, did it a few times a week. So you could do that. Then you can get your permit early. With your permit, you had to be driving with an adult over the age of 18, and it could be like within certain hours or whatever.
Yeah, a curfew.
But then you could get your driver's license before 18. If you didn't go through driver's ed, you had to wait till you're 18. You take the driver's ed, written exam. I think it was on a computer actually, and then a driver's test. But where I was living, they just did it based off your birthday.
Yeah.
It was just like some random ones. Luckily, because, my luck, I had to take it, but a lot of my friends didn't.
So I think it's kudos to Carmel. And I really think that which is weird, Indiana is probably one of the states that is like, it doesn't know what it wants to be, Does it want to be a country, like country land, farmland, or does it want to be a big city? It doesn't quite have an identity.
That's all right though, because it's obviously thriving and doing its thing.
It's doing its thing. Yeah. Indiana has what is it? There's like a big industry there. My buddy works Cummins. They make the Cummins engines there for the big trucks. You know what I mean? There's a Cummins plant. But before I push play, I like this because it's actually showing a lot of you guys in the UK and Europeans in general what an actual US, like what this looks like in the US.
Yeah.
So I'm curious your thoughts. Like if you're looking at this video, what do you think? What's your thoughts on the road systems? What do you think about the way shops are set up? The way,
which in regards to the roundabouts as well, or traffic circles, I guess I still don't really know the difference. The way they work is if it's just like a small little one car one, that's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Maybe you have a sign before you enter the circle that says yield, so people know. But again, that should be part of your driving test if they're going to become a more regular thing. It should be anyway, because eventually you're going to come across them. So maybe there's a sign that says yield. I think if it gets to a point where there's multiple lanes, that could be more confusing. There needs to be some type of education, but
yeah. All right, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Lights, saving millions of bulbs to replace. Vehicles no longer idle at red lights, saving millions of gallons of fuel. Carbon monoxide emissions dropped by as much as 45%.
Wow.
Carmel proved something that should worry every traffic light manufacturer in America. Roundabout adoption isn't an engineering problem. The engineering was solved decades ago. It's a political problem. It takes a leader willing to endure the backlash and the patience to let results speak for themselves. So, roundabouts are safer for drivers. The data is unequivocal. But what about the people who aren't in cars? For pedestrians, the news is mostly good. Crossing distances are shorter, and you only deal with one direction of traffic at a time. Converting conventional intersections to roundabouts reduces pedestrian crashes by about 75%. But cyclists present a harder problem. And here's where the difference between British and continental design really shows up. Traditional British roundabouts, with their wider entries and higher speeds, were particularly dangerous for people on bikes. The Dutch saw this and did what they do best. They redesigned the geometry around the most vulnerable user. Their solution looks like this. The bike lane doesn't merge into traffic at the roundabout. It stays fully separated, running in its own ring about 15 feet outside the vehicle circle. Drivers entering and exiting the roundabout cross the bike path at near perpendicular angles, where they can clearly see cyclists approaching.
That's
not in a blind spot, not mid-merge, but directly ahead. Pedestrian crosswalks sit just behind the bike ring, giving each group, drivers, cyclists, pedestrians, their own dedicated space. It's the same philosophy we saw in the Dutch intersection redesign from the highways video. When you design for the most vulnerable person first, everyone gets safer. This is the frontier of roundabout design globally. The question is no longer whether roundabouts beat traffic lights for cars. They do. The question is how to make them equally safe for the 8-year-old on a bicycle, the elderly pedestrian with a cane, the visually impaired commuter navigating by sound. There's one more thing about roundabouts that rarely gets discussed. They don't need electricity. A roundabout works during a power outage, a hurricane, or an ice storm. When every traffic light in a city goes dark, roundabouts keep moving. No backup generators, no police officers directing traffic. Safety is built into the geometry. The service life tells a similar story. A typical traffic signal lasts about 10 years before it needs a major overhaul. A roundabout? 25. It's infrastructure that outlasts the technology it replaces. And yet, as of 2026, the United States has about 10,000 roundabouts. That sounds...
Wow, I'm actually really surprised to see that there's that many. I mean, it's still such a small amount in comparison to the grand scheme of things, but I'm still surprised there's that many.
Yeah, you could have 10,000 in a city in America. So the fact that there's only 10, there should be millions. Like, just look at that map for just a second. Like, there are still huge sections of America that don't even have one.
Yeah.
Like, look at it. There's not one. That is crazy. Is that North Dakota?
Is that Hawaii down there that has like 6?
Yeah, Hawaii. Hawaii's got 6. Florida has a couple,
Yeah.
and I will say Colorado. So if you look at Colorado, which is right where my mouse is, that's kind of like Denver and Colorado Springs. That's accurate. And I feel like Colorado was adapting more of a European style.
Yeah.
They just do in politics, they do in like they're all about that life.
Lifestyle,
Yeah.
just in general, yeah.
They're all about it. So I think we'll get there. It's gonna be tough. Look at Texas. Texas has like just over here. What is that, Austin or Dallas?
I have no idea.
As of 2026, the United States has about 10,000 roundabouts. That sounds like a lot until you compare it to roughly 300,000 signalized intersections. France alone has over 30,000. The gap is closing. States like New York and Virginia have adopted roundabout-first policies. The Federal Highway Administration lists them as a proven safety countermeasure. Every year, more cities follow Carmel's lead. But the story of the American roundabout is really a story about how first impressions shape infrastructure for generations. In 1905, we had an idea decades ahead of its time. We built it wrong. We spent 50 years recovering from the mistake, and now we're finally catching up to what the rest of the world figured out while we weren't paying attention. Roundabouts reduce injury crashes by up to 80%. They save lives, money, fuel, and time. The engineering is settled. The evidence is clear. The only question left is how long it takes the rest of the country to accept it.
That was actually really interesting.
That was actually a really good video.
It was very informative. There's a lot of things that I would not have thought about.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, wow.
Well, that's the whole purpose, is to educate and to help. And like, yes, there is a lot of dangers in a 4, corner intersection. I don't even know what you call those, like a box intersection, because he's correct. There's 4 different areas where pedestrians have to walk. Like, even if we're trying to get to the other side of the street, we have to pass 2 traffic lights. So it is interesting. And I do, you guys can complain or shit on Americans, but you have to understand that this is not a part of our daily lives. And for millions and millions and millions of Americans, it's not like comfortable.
Yeah.
If I had a child and he was born into an America that had roundabouts, we would have a different conversation. Like, this wouldn't even be an issue. But, for some of us to see a roundabout being such a foreign entity, you come up, drive up to a roundabout. It's kind of scary because you're in a car. You know what I mean? And it could be daunting, especially when you haven't had formal training. You haven't really been explained the rules of the road when it comes to roundabouts. There's a sign that says yield, but then you have these things and like, you talk to somebody about it, your parents, like, hey, how do I navigate this roundabout? But they might not be there.
I think anything brand new to a majority of people is always a little bit intimidating at first.
Yeah.
I imagine it like if you're in the generation pre-computer and then say all of a sudden computers are out and your job is like, boom, we're changing things overnight. All of a sudden, we're dropping 1,000 computers in here. Everybody needs to figure out how to use them. We're going live tomorrow. And this is your first time seeing it. You don't know anything about it. You're trying to figure it out and navigate it. It's like a similar thing, it's going to take some time. It's a little bit intimidating. It's a little bit scary. People are going to make mistakes. Eventually you'll get used to it. And once you know what you're doing, then it's like, okay, this is cake and this is better, but it's going to take time to get to that point.
And there's 10,000 roundabouts currently in America. I promise you they're so scarce.
Yeah.
Like, I can't describe the geography of America, but it is massive. Towns are massive. You're traveling. And when I'm saying massive, like, to get out from where we are, out of Florida, it's like 2,000 miles. Like, no kidding. It is massive.
Well, like Stephen was talking about, a lot of places in just Europe in general being walkable. Like, our towns and cities really aren't. If you want to walk to work, you might be walking 9 hours to get there.
Yeah.
Just in the same, city or next town over. So it's
different. From where we used to live to where we live now, it's about 2 miles away?
Yeah.
It's about 2.
Our last house, you mean? That took me a minute to figure out what you're talking about. Yeah.
Our last house. We just recently moved. How much time do you think it would take 2 miles to drive 2 miles? How much time do you think that actually takes? 10 minutes. Was it 10 minutes?
No.
20?
Yeah. It's like 22 minutes.
22 minutes? It's crazy. So I would love to see a world, and what's weird is why did America, the real question is why did we abandon this whole roundabout thing?
They told you why.
Was it so catastrophic that, well, we had a choice. We could abandon it and go back to what was easy and comfortable, which was, for at the time, the stoplights and the intersections. Or America could have been the ones developing and engineering and figuring out the tighter roads.
Yeah, they could have been, but they weren't.
I know. It's like, why did you guys abandon and give up on this idea?
They apparently just either it freaked them out enough that they just abandoned it, or they couldn't figure out a better system. I mean, I would hope that they would have tried some other things before they just abandoned it, but who knows?
Or even be contacting with their peers in the UK or Europe, being like, hey, what's working? It's almost like that entire division just stopped. And then for 50 years, we're developing these massive infrastructures for the stop signs or the road lights.
Yeah.
Which sucks, because now my generation is going to have to go in and clean it up. I do think we will change, because the whole cost and savings, like, it's going to be a thing. Anyways, you guys, let us know down in the comments what you thought of this. I loved it. Great video. Very informational. So yeah, let us know anything else that we should know. All right, guys, that's our time. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.